What's going on, everyone? When it comes to Kyrie Irving and this trade saga, it just seems like a never-ending cycle, right? One minute he's getting traded, the next minute the Nets are trying to ride it out. But as of late, all of the rumors and discussion and just reports that are being put out, all are coming from the Brooklyn side. We haven't really heard anything from the Lakers side, which is a good indication that the Lakers have the leverage, right? Usually when teams are starting to put out all of these reports and leaking all this stuff and leaking this, that, and the other, it's usually a sign that they're trying to gain leverage. They're trying to gain momentum. And whether Kyrie Irving gets traded today, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, whatever happens, the Lakers are in a good position. They just need to continue to be patient. They need to continue to, stand firm and wait to see who blinks first. The Brooklyn Nets keep trying to call Rob Pelinka's bluff, and he's doing a great job of just standing pat. And it's the best interest for them. Look, the Lakers don't lose anything by standing pat. Kyrie Irving, he's coming to the Lakers at some point. It's a matter of when, not if. If they don't get him this year, guess what? Kyrie Irving's just going to sign with the Lakers next year. And for further indication that Kyrie Irving is headed to the Lakers, now this isn't full confirmation, but it is a really telling sign because this didn't happen until recently. Now, Kyrie Irving has purchased a house for $3.7 million in Los Angeles. He bought a house in LA. Why would he buy a house in LA unless he was planning on moving there? Now, many people may be thinking, well, lots of NBA players buy houses in LA. They go there for the offseason. They train there, things like that. Kyrie never had a house before. Kyrie's not a guy that owns a bunch of real estate. Kyrie's not a guy that's flashy and spends a bunch of money. He didn't go buy a $10 million home, to be balling and flexing and stuff like that. No, he bought a home to possibly live it. He is a guy that doesn't need that crazy lavish life. There were reports that he was in Los Angeles, that, he's talked to LeBron, various other people. I'm sure he's had conversations with quite a few people within the Lakers organization, as well as LeBron and others. I know LeBron, I don't think, is in LA at this time, but it doesn't mean he can't pick up the phone, have a phone call, maybe talk to Anthony Davis, maybe talk to some, people within the Lakers. I don't know. But again, I'm not a reporter. I'm nothing like that. The Lakers will never say that. The Lakers will never mention that. But for me, I can say something like that because it makes sense. He's in LA. He's trying to get traded to LA. Maybe if it wasn't him directly, I'm sure his people have made contact with somebody, right? And then he's in LA for whatever reason and ends up buying a house in LA. $3.7 million home. Now, it's a guy that never had a home in LA prior. Again, if he was a guy that wanted to train in the offseason or things like that, he would have had a home. He's not 3 years into the league. I mean, he's been in the league long enough to where if he wanted to train in LA and various other places, he would have bought a home in LA. It's a telling sign that Kyrie Irving is heading to the Lakers. Again, I think it's a matter of when, not if. Now, is this like groundbreaking information? Is this something that it's like, oh, like here it comes? Like, no, it's not, But it is very interesting that he would go and fly out to LA, check out spots, spend some time hanging out, and it's in the midst of all of this trade rumors and speculations and him publicly telling people, or at least his team, saying like, we're going to LA. We're either doing it this year or I'm signing with the Lakers next year in the offseason. So why wouldn't he buy a house and put that in place and get ready? Even if he has to, ride it out in Brooklyn or whatever for a year, he's still going to go back to LA and he'll live in that house. He'll sign with the Lakers, things like that. I just think that all the signs are pointing to it. Now, and I understand a lot of people, because we've been kind of following along. If you've subscribed to this channel or watch videos on this channel, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. But for those that have followed along here on this channel, then you know that LeBron really wants it. Kyrie Irving has been very public and open about it. Kyrie's done everything he can. Brooklyn, they're trying to gain whatever leverage. The problem is they don't really have a bunch of leverage. And I understand people want the Lakers to just pull the trigger. Just do it already, right? I get tons of comments from people that are just like, just why are you playing games? Why are you wasting time? Just sign him. The thing is that like we still have 2 months before we even get into the the end of the offseason, right? The offseason isn't until September, the end of September. So we have time. We don't need to rush. They're not even in training camp. They're all training individually. They're all doing things. Even if we got Kyrie today, like, it doesn't have an impact on the team at the moment. The Lakers have nothing to gain and nothing to lose by trading for Kyrie right now. But if they wait it out, guess what? They gain more and more leverage, because there is no way Brooklyn is going to start the season with Kyrie Irving on their team. That would be a disaster, because you're going to have Kyrie Irving, who just wants nothing but to be out of Brooklyn, who's just going to cause headaches, cause drama. You got a team, you got young players, you got a young coach that, is trying to figure things out. You got all this turmoil, all this chaos, Kevin Durant trade lingering, all of that. You got so many factors in place, so many things and concerns and issues that you need to worry about from an organizational standpoint. The last thing you want is Kyrie Irving just throwing a fit and just causing mayhem on top of everything else. And Kyrie Irving is the guy that will sit out and not play the entire season if need be. Kyrie Irving sat out and lost $17 million. Not only that, he lost a shoe deal over that. So believe me, he has no problems sitting out and just playing hardball with the Brooklyn Nets. And why would he want to play? Next thing you know, the Brooklyn Nets aren't going to give him a max contract extension, right? So why would you want to play and say he gets injured or hurt, and the one team that wants to offer him a max doesn't want to offer him a max anymore, because it's like, dude, I don't even know if you can play anymore. If he breaks his leg or something, it's like, why would we give you a max? Maybe the Lakers don't even want him anymore. Then where does he go? So Kyrie Irving's not silly. Like, he's going to do what he needs to do to put himself in the position that he wants to be in. And the position he wants to be in is with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. All the Nets are doing is just causing trouble for no reason. But right now, again, just as the Lakers have nothing to gain or lose, the Brooklyn Nets have nothing to gain or lose, right? They know what the Lakers trade is. It's going to be the same as it was today, as it will be a month from now. They just need to figure out everything else. And it's very likely that they could trade Kyrie Irving after the Kevin Durant trade, right? You trade KD, you kind of got your established, you know where you're at, you know the direction, you know where you're going. I'm sure they're doing their due diligence. Like, if we take on Westbrook, are we keeping him? Are we sending him off to a third team? What are we trying to do here? They're crossing their T's and dotting their I's. They know what the Lakers are willing to offer and what they're willing to take back. The Brooklyn Nets, they don't need to rush the Kyrie thing just as much as the Lakers don't need to rush the Kyrie thing. The Brooklyn Nets are just hoping that if we draw this out, maybe, just maybe, Rob Pelinka will finally blink and say, okay, let's do it. I don't think that's going to happen. It's in Rob Pelinka's best interest to not have that happen. Just stand pat, keep your assets, because if you blink, you're going to have to give up more than you will otherwise. Brooklyn has no options when it comes to Kyrie Irving. There's not going to be all of a sudden all these packages and trade deals that are going to come out of the woodworks for whatever reason. Like, if there were other offers, they would be on the table right now, but they have nothing. Kyrie Irving has made it very clear and thus has eliminated any other possibility. The Lakers have all the power, all the leverage. Lose him for nothing, or get what we'll give you, and you get something. They're going to get a first-round pick. They're going to clear salary cap. And on top of that, you're probably going to get a pick swap or something along those lines. We'll take back Kyrie Irving, throw in Seth Curry. There you go. Everyone's happy. It's a win-win. I just think it's a matter of time before Kyrie Irving hits. Now, hopefully, it's within the next week or so. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Nets draw this out for another month. I do think by the end of the month, it'll happen. I do. I don't think that they're going to go into August, when things are going to start ramping up. Front offices are trying to put everything together, figure out the direction, figure out what their team's going to look like, stuff like that. I imagine Brooklyn wants to get this done ASAP, as do the Lakers. But it's the Lakers' best interest to stand pat. Kyrie Irving already bought a house in LA. Kyrie Irving has done all he could do at the moment to force himself to Los Angeles. Just do right by him, be patient, and it'll happen. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of Kyrie Irving buying a house in LA? You think this has major significance? Do you think it doesn't? Do you think it's just, it's just another, athlete buying a house in LA? I think it's interesting that the timing is very odd. He didn't have a house in LA before. There's lots of NBA players that, yes, they go to LA regularly, stuff like that. They'll buy houses in LA so that way they have a place to stay when they're out there for, training or whatever for a couple months. Kyrie Irving isn't one of those people. And he bought a house that sounds like the house that he lives in every place he's been. Not a super flashy, didn't buy a $50 million house, anything like that. Bought a modest, $3.7 million home. I know some of you might be thinking, how is that modest? But when you're worth, $100+ million, that's extremely modest. So it's just things to keep in mind. It's just interesting how this is all unfolding. And worst case scenario, this is just entertainment, right? It's interesting, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. But again, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions, however you feel about the situation, down in the comments below. One last little shameless plug is I did start As It Stands Lakers. It is a channel just like this, dedicated to only the Lakers, because the Lakers are my favorite team. And on this channel, As It Stands, I talk about all teams, all sports, stuff like that. We have football season coming up, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And I just wanted to make a dedicated channel to the Lakers to give the ins and outs. Now, all the big stuff, all the big news and stuff, I will still post here on this channel. But if you want all the ins and outs and just rumors and theories and just discussions just strictly on the Lakers, link down in the description or in the comment section. Go check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.